attendees in na rin po. Okay po.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My greetings to all of you, and let's give each other a heart, which is a manifestation of love. Love for one another. Pakita naman yung mga heart ninyo dyan. Ayan, marami ng love, 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 heart, heart, heart. Okay, there you are. So, I am very happy to welcome you all to this webinar, episode 6 of Quality Assurance Support Program for schools wanting to learn quality assurance, for schools wanting to start quality assurance journey, and for schools currently in their certification or accreditation journey, and for schools wanting to improve quality assurance processes. So thank you so much to Rex for your 75 years of services to educators. So let us give a visual round of applause to Rex and to all of you. Ayan, so far, there are already 161 participants. So there, good afternoon everyone, and welcome. So to start with, let us have an opening prayer. Thank you. Thank you very much, and I hope that in silence, all of us participated in our prayer. So thank you. So for this afternoon, our session is all about curriculum and instruction. Session 1. There will be a follow-up of this session and we will have it session 2. So curriculum and instruction. The quality of instruction in a school is the most important factor of affecting the quality of student learning, the achievement of expectations for student learning, and the delivery of the curriculum and the assessment of student progress. The school's instructional program is grounded on the school's mission and expectations for student learning, supported by researches on best practices and refined and improved based on identified student needs. Next slide, please. So I am Mrs. Palaran C. Algar. I am the moderator for this webinar, episode 6 on curriculum and instruction, session 1. Before we will start our session, let me read to you or let me remind you of some house rules. Please note that attendees do not have access to turn on their camera and microphone. You may communicate with everyone using the chat tab. Kindly wait for all presentations to finish and for the acknowledgement cue before asking questions. And to ask questions, please use the Q&A tab located at the bottom of your screen. Please don't forget to complete the feedback form to ensure your attendance is recorded. The form will be open for 48 hours to accept responses. And then, good news for everyone, we will have raffle winners. And these are our reminders. To claim your raffle prize, kindly send your full name, your contact number, your GCash number, or your bank account and ID to any of the following. So we have two, Miss Pauline Ann Encinares, and you have the email ad there. And then we have Miss Rachel Ann Roges, and you have the email ad. No? So I hope you will remember this. Why? Because we will start with 2 raffle winners for this time. So there, Miss Rachel, can we have the raffle before we will start? Just to inspire everybody and for everybody to know, we have already 205 participants. Okay, so Rizal Ann will start the raffle. There.
Good afternoon po everyone. So once again, let us have a few reminders po. All the raffle participants must be present at the time of the draw. If your name is called and you are not present, your entry will be forfeited and the new winner will be selected. Please stay until the end of the event to make sure you don't miss your chance to claim your prize. Okay, let's spin the wheel na po. Congratulations, Miss Cheryl Beltran.
Wow. Congratulations.
Let us check po muna kung si Miss Cheryl Beltran po ay nandito. Okay. Nandito po si Ma'am Cherry. Once again, congratulations po.
Ayan. So visual round of applause. Congratulations, Cheryl. Ma'am Cheryl.
Let us have the second draw po. Congratulations, Miss Mardy Marie Castro. Miss Mardy Marie, can you please raise your hand, please? Okay. So again, congratulations po, Miss Mardy.
Wow. Congratulations, Mardy. Miss Mardy. Let us give a round of applause. A visual round of applause for Ma'am Mardy. Okay, there. Pampagana. So, ang daming nagka-clap ng hands, ano? Be sure to copy the full name and the contact number of Miss Pauline and Miss Rachel. Let us proceed. So, I hope that most of you have attended already our webinar series from episode 1 to 5. So for episode 1, we had our general overview of the quality assurance. The second episode is about the PVMGO, the philosophy, the vision, the mission, the goals, and the objectives. And our episode 3 was about strategic planning and management, which is also very, very important for quality assurance. And then the fourth episode is leadership, organization, and administration. So this is really very, very important too. And our episode 5, the last, was all about policy and governance. And for the synthesis of our episode 5, we have the following. Operations management include aligning administrative tasks with academic goals, policy formulation in line with standards, and strategic resource allocation. And then effective resource allocation begins with engaging all stakeholders in the planning process to gather diverse insights and ensure that decisions reflect actual needs. And then we also discuss on the challenges in school operations, which involve budgeting constraints, staffing shortages, and inadequate facilities, which school administrators must manage effectively. And the last one, we should also remember that technology should be integrated into daily school operations, particularly in areas where it can address inefficiencies such as automation, data gathering, communication, and real-time decision making. So for this afternoon's webinar, we are very, very fortunate to have with us set of panelists who are really experts on the topic curriculum and instruction. To start with, our first panelist who will be discussing with us more on theories about curriculum and instruction, we have Miss Rita Atienza. She is a prominent Filipino educator and academic leader, currently serving as the director of Ateneo Teacher Center at Ateneo de Manila University. She is recognized for her expertise in teaching training, curriculum development, and educational leadership, with a particular focus on the Ignatian Pedagogical Paradigm, or the IPP, and understanding by design frameworks. Mama Atienza co-authored the book Learning by Refraction, which explores innovative approaches to Ignatian pedagogy. In her work, she emphasizes the importance of contextualizing education to address the complexities of today's world, advocating for teaching methods that are relevant, reflective, and action-oriented. Beyond her academic role, she has been actively involved in initiatives aimed at educational equity, such as the Pathways to Higher Education program at Ateneo. This program supports students from low-income backgrounds through scholarships, mentorship, and leadership development, helping them navigate and succeed in higher education. Ms. Atienza also contributes to professional development for educators through platforms like the Ateneo SALP or SALT Institute, and participates in educational conferences such as the FIT, Frontiers and Innovations in Teaching, where she shares insights on contemporary teaching practices. Dear participants, let us give a round of applause as we welcome Dr. Rita Atienza. Visual round of applause, please. There. So many, thank you so much. And then we have already 226 participants. For our second panelist, who will be talking on the perspective of an administrator, we have Dr. Kenneth Paul C. Duran. He is the program chair for teacher education at St. Paul University, Dumaguete, with over 18 years of experience in teaching and educational leadership. He specializes in curriculum development, instructional leadership, and student engagement. He holds 3 advanced related degrees: Master of Arts in Curriculum Design, Development, and Supervision, Master of Arts in Education, major in Curriculum and Instruction, and a Doctor of Education in Educational Management, all earned within the St. Paul University system, reflecting his deep-rooted commitment to Pollineal educational excellence. Dr. Duran has led numerous initiatives to improve teaching effectiveness, assessment, and faculty development. His leadership ensures instruction is both learner-centered and values-driven. Formerly a vice principal and mathematics academic team leader, he aligned pedagogy with national standards and Catholic educational values. He also serves as a trainer and certifier for the Private Education Assistance Committee, or the PIAC, as a licensed professional teacher and certified internal auditor for educational organization management systems, or the EOMS. He champions quality and integrity in education. Dr. Duran remains committed to forming compassionate, purpose-driven future educators. His work reflects the Paulinian mission of placing Christ at the center of every classroom. So once again, let us welcome and let us have a visual round of applause for Dr. Kenneth Paul C. Duran. Thank you so much. So we have a parade of an applause. And the third, who is also an expert, is Dr. Maridel D. Isulat. Dr. Maridel D. Isulat is a dedicated educator and a school leader with a notable foundation in the sciences and education. So earned her Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences and Master of Education, major in Biology from the University of the Philippines, Visayas. She further pursued her academic endeavor by completing her PhD in Educational Management at the University of St. LaSalle, Bacolod City. With over 3 decades of teaching experience, Dr. Isulat has taught across almost all levels of education. She has served in the tertiary and graduate programs at the University of St. LaSalle and in the basic education units of St. John's Institute and Binalbagan Catholic College. Currently, she leads St. John Institute as its principal, where she continues to inspire students and faculty alike. She played a key role in the Commission on Higher Education's massive upgrading of science teachers in Negros Occidental, helping raise the standards of science education in the province. Her passion led her to participate in an international training in biotechnology. In addition, she has served as a visiting professor and a consultant to a LaSalle supervised school. Deeply grounded in both Lasallian and Johnian values, Dr. Isulat is devoted to continue serving the education sector of our society in all ways possible. So again, another visual round of applause as we welcome Dr. Maridel D. Isulat. So the three of them are really experts to our topic, which is all about curriculum and instruction. There. So are you ready? Are you ready? Paki-type naman dyan. If you are ready, okay, you can have the chat box. Yes, yes, yes. I think everybody is excited. Yes po. Yes, yes, yes. Ode. Okay, there you are. So we have the following questions. 4 questions that will serve as our discussion points on the topic curriculum and instruction. So number 1 question, what are the key factors? What key factors should be considered when designing a school curriculum to ensure it meets students' needs and societal demands? The second question, how can a curriculum designer ensure alignment of the competencies, the assessments, teaching pedagogies, and target 21st century skills and values with the standards? And the third question, what role do stakeholders, who are the teachers, parents, students, and the community, play in curriculum design? And the last question, which is our point of discussion, what are the common challenges in designing a new curriculum and how can school leaders and teachers address them? So that's it. So we are very much ready to answer these questions. So let's start with question number 1. What key factors should be considered when designing a school curriculum to ensure it meets students' needs and societal demands? So let's start from Ma'am Rita. Ma'am Rita, start the ball, roll it. There.
Hello, I'm very glad to be here. Good afternoon to all our participants. It's nice to join you for a topic that's very, very close to my heart. I really love working with curriculum, and I'm so happy to join you for this conversation this afternoon. Now, the first question, I was assigned in this panel to take care of the more theoretical aspects of curriculum and instruction. And so that is the lens through which I will be answering the 4 questions. So let's have the first slide, please. As educators, we know that there are very many curriculum design models available. And for example, we can look at Ellis, who this is one of the more common ways of categorizing different types of curriculum design. And Ellis has knowledge-centered curricula. And these schools, which have knowledge-centered curriculum, well, Ellis was really advocating a liberal education. But nevertheless, your school can also be said to have a knowledge-centered curriculum if we prioritize learning in the different subject areas. Because our DepEd and CHED do prioritize the different different disciplines, then many of our schools follow a knowledge-centered curriculum. Ellis also was categorizing certain curricula as being learner-centered, which means that it focuses on learners' needs and interests. And his last category is society-centered, which means that the students are develop the skills to discover and solve community problems. Now, many of us know that the curriculum of our schools today, you are in a way eclectic because they do address all 3, the needs of the learner, the societal needs, and of course, we base it all on a strong foundation on the subject area disciplines. Shiro, who came later than Ellis, has a very similar categorization. So he has four. The first three are very similar to the ones of Ellis, but he adds a fourth called the social efficiency theory. And this is about preparing students for their future roles in a society. So this is a very pragmatic view of curriculum, and it's very economic oriented, no? How we will, what careers we will have. But in my work, I have come to take the position that none of the curriculum design models, very few of the curriculum design models, really capture the today's societal needs and the needs of our children today, because the world that we know now is so different, even from just Ellis's time in 2004 or Shiro's time in 2012. So we need to look for a more future-oriented curriculum model. And in the next slide, you will see that in contrast to the more traditional models, the Center for Curriculum Redesign, next slide, please. The Center for Curriculum Redesign has come to expand the view of curriculum. So in this slide, they have a four-dimensional curriculum framework. They did this way back in 2014. I don't know, many of you will remember that Rex invited Bernie Trilling over, and he was already talking about this way back in 2015, 2016, I think it was. And you can see from here that they are now focusing on what learners need to know to be prepared for this century, this very uncertain, in a way, very chaotic world that we live in now. So there are four dimensions, not only knowledge, but they really specify the 21st century skills. And I think you should appreciate a model like this because it gives you the framework for where the 21st century skills enter. It is hard for us in our schools today to be following a national curriculum that's very knowledge centered. The curriculum guides that we get are very knowledge centered. And then we are just asked to integrate different 21st century skills and different other life skills. But the way the curriculum is designed is really very, very knowledge-centered. So if the curriculum were to be really designed according to a four-dimensional framework, then the design would have to specify exactly how knowledge, the 21st century skills, and character values, right? Character components, whether these are the core values of your respective schools or something more universal like, that could fit most schools, like curiosity, even non-sectarian schools, like curiosity, courage, resilience, and ethics. Very interestingly, they add a fourth dimension, and you can see that it encompasses the whole view of the graduate. And this, in a way, meta learning, you can see that that term already implies that this is the learning how to learn. And it involves, in their newest version in 2024, it involves both metacognition, which is thinking about your thinking, as well as meta emotion. And I think this is a very wonderful addition because you are also now having to be aware of how the learning is affecting you. So this is meta emotion. Can I have the next slide, please? So this slide is now from the OECD. This is a slide that's very familiar to very many of you. This is called the Learning Compass 2030. It is also a very future-oriented curriculum in the sense that it starts with what does the learner need to know in a very tumultuous future. So I call these future-oriented graduate outcomes. And you can see that in this model, they have also expanded beyond just knowledge and skills, with some attitudes and values added here and there to really come up with a framework where there is a place, a place for all of these things very critically. And if you go to the site of Learning Compass, you can click on the different elements here. The outer ring is transformative competencies. They name 3, creating new value. So with AI now, we can see that we not only use AI so that it makes our work easier, but we need to build off of AI so that we create new value. So we must be generative individuals, hopefully for the good of society. How do we develop this in our students? See, you can see how future-oriented it is. The next transformative competency is taking responsibility. So that's partly you generate new value in a way that's transformative, in a way that contributes to the common good. And the last transformative competency is to reconcile tensions and dilemmas. This was not in previous frameworks. And this is so important because the world is not a rosy place. We will have failures, we will have doubts, etc. And if we don't teach the students this and we just tell them, you have to have resilience, you have to have grit, then the pressure on them is very heavy. Along with that, core foundations are named. And if I can just show you very quickly, the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values. Next slide, please. I put together on the left the 2018 knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values. And this is really worth studying because if you look at knowledge, there's even epistemic knowledge. So it's like knowing how knowledge comes about, how thinking comes about, right? In the International Baccalaureate schools, they have a theory of knowledge, which is a subject that teaches this. And so you can see now that if you have a curriculum that's designed to have all of this, you'll really have a very holistic curriculum that prepares students for the 21st century. On the right side is a diagram that AI generated. I asked AI to generate it. It's by Napkin, and it talks about values, attitudes, personal development, social interaction, global well-being. If you read the material of OECD, you will see all of this. So this is important. Next slide, please. Because you know very well this is a VUCA world, but more than that, I like to use the description by the sociologist Sigmund Bauman, and he was quoted by Elif Shafak in her TED Talk. Elif Shafak is a well-known author, and she quoted Bauman as saying, "Today, it is like we are all walking on moving sand." And so education, curriculum should be about how can we prepare students to walk on moving sand without sinking, especially if it is quicksand. So my last slide is, so then let us try the key factors to have an expanded view of curriculum, very future-oriented, long-term transfer goals, transfer referring to transferring learning beyond just the classroom, a holistic approach that now spells out very clearly in the curriculum framework, not only the knowledge and skills, but how individual well-being and societal transformation will be addressed by that curriculum. Lastly, That curriculum should be designed so that it is not fixed. It must be flexible and adaptive. There must be mechanisms for that because our society is changing so fast. So it must also be emergent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Rita, for that sharing. I have a lot of notes here because your sharing is actually very, very insightful. That in designing curriculum, we have to remember the four-dimensional framework and the compass and the meta-learning, the meta-cognition, the meta emotion, and then the co-curricular in terms of skills development and also the character. And for the compass, also we have to consider that, no? And then the last is that I am also very moved with the thought or the quote, we are walking on moving sand, no? So we must be flexible, adaptive, and emergent. Thank you so much for that, Ma'am Rita. How about Dr. Kenneth? Dr. Kenneth, any further reaction or comment or rejoinder of Dr. Rita's sharing as an talking on the perspective of an administrator? Dr. Kenneth, start the ball rolling.
Thank you, Mampal. As a Polinian teacher, answering this question involves integrating both professional educational principles and the Polinian core values of Christ-centeredness, charity, community, commission, and charism. That's why here at St. Paul University, Dumaguete, when designing a school curriculum that meets students' needs and societal demands, several key factors must be considered, especially through the lens of Paulinian education. First, as also emphasized by Dr. Rita, the curriculum must be learner-centered. We begin by understanding the students' needs as well as the societal demands. Several key factors must be considered, especially we begin by understanding our students' developmental needs, interests, and learning profiles. That's why earlier in ELIS 2004, learners' needs and interests must geared towards the discovery and for them to solve community problems. So that when this is done, our responsive curriculum is integrated, which is focused on differentiated instruction, inclusivity, and relevance to real-life contexts. Apart from these, of course, is the alignment of national standards and frameworks. We ensure that our curriculum is compliant with the recommended curriculum of the Department of Education while adapting to the institutional priorities such as Catholic and Paulinian values coming from the Sisters of St. Paul of Chartres Education Ministry, or the SPCEM, since we are a member school of the St. Paul University System, or SPUS, thus making our curriculum values-based. As a Paulinian teacher, I believe education should not only aim for academic excellence, but also character formation. Remember, it is said that education has for its purpose the formation of character. Thus, Paulinian education is holistic. Therefore, the curriculum should integrate moral and spiritual values that shape compassionate and ethical citizens in line with the Church's mission and the Catholic identity of education. All those Koko Krikri or the 21st century skills must also be integrated so that these are embedded across learning competencies, ensuring our learners are prepared for the demands of the globalized world. Moreover, curriculum development should be dynamic and collaborative. That is why our stakeholders are also engaged so that we ensure our curriculum is relevant, contextualized, and mission aligned. So that at St. Paul University, Dumaguete, we integrate service learning in core subjects to foster social responsibility and community engagement. Finally, the design curriculum can be monitored in its implementation by continuous assessment, reflective practice, so that balancing academic rigor with spiritual depth and social responsiveness, a Paulinian designed curriculum becomes a powerful tool for forming individuals who not only succeed in life, but also serve others with faith and love. Thank you, Mampal.
Thank you so much, Sir Kenneth. I am actually very amazed of your sharing. Why? Because curriculum, according to you, should emphasize student-centered learning, service learning, or curriculum must be values-based. Wow. Really, we have to consider that, no? The character building, values-based education. Really an amazing curriculum if we have that. Okay, how about Dr. Maridel? Any sharing? We are eager to know your experiences on the perspective of the teachers.
Yes, thank you very much, Ma'am Pal. And also, thank you so much, Doc Rita and Doc Kenneth. So, good afternoon, everyone. I am going to answer the set of questions from the perspective of a classroom teacher. I'm sure we have many classroom teachers who are joining us right now. Am I right? Can we see a virtual raise of hands for classroom teachers who are with us right now? Or if not, yes, okay. So if not now, you had been classroom teachers before, I'm sure. So you would understand, no, how it is to be one. Anyway, in addition to curriculum experts and administrators, teachers play a very crucial role in curriculum design, in curriculum development. Okay, so teachers shape and use curriculum, they design and they implement curriculum. In other words, they fill the gap or they connect theory and practice, making them very essential in the process of curriculum development and design. Now, there are many factors that teachers consider when they design a curriculum. Okay, but there are several, but we are going to consider only some of the important ones. So first, to make or to ensure that the curriculum design meets the students' needs, teachers should consider student characteristics. You know, with first-hand classroom experience, teachers understand that students come from diverse backgrounds. They have diverse characteristics. They have diverse talents and skills. They have different learning styles. Some may be good at visuals, others may be good on hands-on activities, and others may just be contented with just reading and listening. And that brings us to the second factor, which is teaching method. Therefore, the curriculum must include varied teaching methods that would cater to the different learning styles of the students. The third factor is time and pacing. This is very essential to effective classroom delivery. Also very essential to ensure student success and a well-managed classroom. We call this realistic scheduling. No? If we have realistic scheduling, then teachers will be able to cover the content within the allotted time. Because if they go too fast, students may get overwhelmed. Or if they go too slow, students will also get bored. So they should plan out how they're going to allocate the time and how and what will be their pacing so that they will be able to cover the content for a particular day session or for a particular unit. Next, we have content relevance. This is another factor. No? It should be ensured that the content is appropriate. I'm sorry. Can I still be heard?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. I cannot see the slide anymore, but anyway, I will just continue. No? So the curriculum should ensure that the content is relevant, age appropriate, and age relevant. So that this will also match the cognitive, the social, and the emotional development of our learners. For example, play-based learning could be used, or storytelling could be used as a strategy for teaching preschool students. Okay. Next, we have resources and materials. This is to ensure that instruction is effective. So it should be supported. It should be supported by appropriate teaching materials. In order to make, there are some concepts which are difficult to teach. Now, some of them may sound or may look abstract to students. So you can make them concrete by making use of appropriate teaching materials. For example, if you're teaching ecosystem, you can use video clips, or you can use short films, or you can bring your students out to the field, or bring samples of plants or samples of soil. So that way, the abstract topics would become concrete. It would be easy for your students to understand. Next factor is the assessment strategies. Okay, to ensure that student learning is measured effectively, okay, assessment should be planned very well. Okay, and the assessment is not just only for measuring learning, but it is supposed to support learning. There's a lot of assessment methods, no? They're classified as formative or summative. So that will give you a full picture of your student understanding. No? But remember that assessment should be coupled with feedbacking so that it will help our students improve and also help the teachers adjust their learning style for their instruction strategies. Next slide, please. Okay. So also, to ensure that the curriculum is consistent or is answering societal demands, okay, we should also integrate the factors. No, the following factors should be considered, like integration of the 21st century skills. Okay, career readiness should be ensured, and also global and civic awareness. It should be part of the curriculum. No? And also, curriculum, the design of the curriculum will be such that you will also ensure that students will recognize, respect, and reflect different cultures. In that way, responsible citizenship will be promoted. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sama Maridel. There. So what you have shared is indeed very, very true. I am just reminded the importance of the instructional design framework, considering the learners as the center. So we have to consider their needs, no? And also our curriculum should be responsive to society. So thank you very much. Just an update. There are already 250 participants joining our webinar. So let us give a round of applause for that. And also, in the interest of time, you can start giving or formulating your questions. You can just have it in the Q&A box, no, or tab. And our panelists will be answering your questions. Okay, so there. So let us once again give a round of applause to our 4 panelists for our question number 1 or our discussion point number 1. There, visual pro. There, napakarami talaga. Ayan. So we cannot count anymore. Okay, let us proceed. May heart pa. So now, question number 2, which is also our point for discussion. How can a curriculum designer ensure alignment of the competencies, alignment of assessments, teaching pedagogies, and target 21st skills and values with the standards? So let us start from Ma'am Rita. Okay, it's your turn, Ma'am Rita.
Hello, thank you, Dr. Kenneth, for your administrator's perspective of question 1, and Dr. Maridel for your classroom teacher's perspective of question 1. And once again, I'm back to the theory for question 2. You gave me the most boring role. But anyway, let's have my slide, please. Okay, so the question is about alignment. And we all know that very close to my heart again is backward design. And if we talk about backward design, Understanding by Design by Wiggins and McTighe comes to mind. But outcomes-based education by Spady is also very much a backward design process. The concept of constructive alignment is always associated with outcomes-based education, although the concept of constructive alignment comes from Biggs. So let me just quickly review the backward design process, and this is just my way of explaining it. So I feel that the close study of the standards and the competencies are very important. At this very early stage, everyone who's going to use the curriculum, we know that there is a recommended curriculum. That's what CHED and DepEd give us. If we are using International Baccalaureate or whatever other school, Singapore methods, those are the recommended curriculum being given to us by the experts, right? But in our schools, once we receive that curriculum, we come up with our own school curriculum. And many times we call that the written curriculum of the school. We incorporate the school values, the school philosophies. If your school is a science high school, science STEM, if your school has a STEM focus, then you're going to pay a little more attention to STEM maybe. So it is already at this point that we must understand the standards and competencies very well. We need to already, in coming up with the written curriculum of the school, we already need to make choices, decisions about what to prioritize for our context, for our school. And it is at this point that we can start to think about what are future-oriented outcomes. And considering the environment, the community where the school is, and what kind of students are in your school, what matters most for them. If you just implement the DepEd or the CHED curriculum without studying it closely, you don't do it justice, and neither do you do your own school curriculum justice. So this is where administrators, but also with faculty, and hopefully with some input from the students, maybe focus group of their discussions of their needs, etc. This is the step that we usually gloss over, and I feel this is the step we should pay a lot of attention to. After that, we can then specify what are our graduate outcomes. So, Dr. Kenneth, for Paulinian, for a Paulinian of the 21st century, I'm sure they study that in their schools. For Dr. Maridel, for a graduate of St. John's, for this century, that has to be spelled out very well. So the alignment, often we just do it at the end, and then we find ways to make sure that we're aligned to the other documents. It must start from the very beginning. So after studying the standards and identifying the graduate outcomes, we need to break down these outcomes. Usually it'll be at the end of grade 12 because they're graduating. But we need to break down what those outcomes will look like in certain milestones or exit levels. Grade 10, grade 6, grade 3, maybe kinder, because kinder is almost a class on its own, right? There are very different graduate outcomes needed for kinder. Based on that, we create assessments, and we create assessments before we create the learning experiences. Why? Because we need to know how we are going to measure that those standards were attained. And then we put in place these major assessments, and it is only then that we can start to design the learning experiences. And actually, this last part, including the more minor assessments, this one can be left to the unit design and lesson planning of teachers themselves. But they need to have very clear steps that they have to align to, and that's why we have to pay a lot of attention to the first 4 steps on my diagram. Thank you.
There you are, Ma'am Rita. Once again, I am reminded of the understanding by design, which is a backward design by Wiggins and Matay, and also for Spady and the Big. So we have to remember the steps, no? And most of all, we have to start understanding the standards before we can proceed to the next steps. Okay, so thank you so much, Ma'am Rita. How about you, Dr. Kenneth or Sir Kenneth? I know you have a lot to share. So there, you can start your sharing now.
Thank you, Mampal. I also am in agreement of the points, the theories cited by Dr. Rita, and very true. For us, Paulinian schools, we have our Paulinian graduate outcomes. And just to share, Spady has been considered a grandfather of Paulinian educators because we have had a lot of sessions with him on outcome-based education. And so, as also mentioned by Dr. Rita, our teachers needs to have clear steps in lesson planning. That's why later on in the slides, you can see in my presentation. So let's begin with the Paulinian educational instructional leader. Alignment begins with intentionality, ensuring that every component of the teaching learning process reflects the values, mission, and academic standards of the St. Paul University institutions. That is why first we conduct curriculum mapping and alignment workshops. We regularly conduct workshops where teachers map out the most essential learning competencies to track how learning competencies are addressed across subjects and grade levels. These allow us to see the PVMGO and our core values of St. Paul, Sisters of St. Paul of Chartres Education Ministry, or SPCEM, converge in both content and instruction, as well as assessment tools and expected outputs. As I was telling early on in the first question that we belong to the St. Paul University system, and we are a member of it, as well as the Sisters of St. Paul of Shark Education Ministry. Our instructional leaders are brought to Manila or anywhere else in the Philippines for the first convention or meeting, so that these instructional leaders, when they go down, can cascade to the teachers, so that we can really expect what are those to be done by our teachers and what are those to be checked in their lesson planning, because this is the second most important thing that we do: lesson planning and assessment reviews, so that this is where we examine whether instructional strategies and assessment tools genuinely support the development of 21st century skills such as critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and communication. Using our instructional framework on outcome-based education, as I was telling about Spady, we ensure clarity in outcomes, instructional methods, and assessment criteria. As a Paulinian educator, it is not enough to meet standards. We must form the whole person, spiritually, morally, and intellectually, the essence of Paulinian education. And finally, we prioritize classroom observation and learning action cell sessions. This is because if there is no integration, we cannot see how is this implemented by the teachers in the classroom. So this serves as an opportunity for us to mentor our teachers, especially our new teachers. This can also be the time for them to share their best practices and ensure that pedagogies are learner-centered, inclusive, and values-oriented. Through reflective teaching practices and regular evaluation, we embed the university's vision, mission, goals, and objectives into learning outcomes and classroom culture. As these collaborative dialogues are rooted in Paulinian value of charity, we seek growth not just individually, but as a community of Paulinian formators. Thus, our Paulinian graduate outcomes aim to form holistic, competent, and compassionate professionals who are grounded in faith and committed to service, reflecting the mission of St. Paul University institutions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Kenneth. No? So, to all the educators and the administrators, so it is indeed very, very important to track our curriculum implementation. How? Through feedbacking and through the learner's output analysis. This is really very, very important. Okay, so let's listen to Dr. or Ma'am Maridel in a reaffirmation now from the perspective of teachers.
Yes, thank you so much, Doc Kenneth. The things that you have mentioned, no, the steps that are being undertaken by instructional leaders in aligning the different competencies with the standards are really observed by us classroom teachers. So, for example, the curriculum mapping and audits, we do that, no? Our instructional leaders initiate curriculum mapping and audits at the start of the school year. We prepare the curriculum maps, and eventually, throughout the school year, audits are also being done by our school administrators and instructional leaders. So they collect data, no, from us through our outputs, no, through the curriculum maps that we submit, through the lesson plans that we submit, through the assessments that we prepare, including performance tasks, no. So curriculum instructional leaders ensure that all of this are aligned with the expected outcomes as prescribed by DepEd or CHED in that matter. Now, another method that our instructional leaders are doing is that that is okay, that's all right. As long as, no, from our end, no, we are provided with the template, we are provided with the criteria. The criteria will be communicated to us. so that we'll be able to understand how the things that we need to do will be done also accordingly. Okay, and the schedule, no, the schedule of submission, whether our instructional leaders expect us to do it in a weekly basis or on a daily basis. So it is very important that these are being communicated to the teachers. Okay, and also even the platform of submission and the comments that the instructional leaders give to us. These are very important so that we can also make adjustments on our documents, academic documents that we prepare. Class observation, that's also a common practice done by instructional leaders. And as teachers, we are very thankful for this, especially if this get followed by feedbacking at the end of the classroom observation and follow-up visits so that the instructional leaders would know whether there has been improvement in how we teach, no, in how we deliver our instruction. The use of rubrics or frameworks. So this is also meaningful for us because this will assure us that there is consistency, no, in how we are being rated, no, and we will also understand, no, the expectations, and we would also understand how we fare, no, in relation to the rubrics and the frameworks that are being used. And so, next slide, please. The role of the teachers, okay, in the alignment, they have to participate in the alignment review. We have no choice but participate. And then also, we have to see to it that our learning plans are aligned with the integration of the 21st century skills. Next, please. Okay, share and adapt best practices. So we can do this in professional learning communities or the learning action cells. No? This is also promoted by school leaders, the formation or the organization of PLCs, where that becomes a very good venue for us to share and adapt best practices. Okay? And also, with all of this, no, from the lens of the teacher, that will give us enough basis that will equip us so that we can reflect on our practices and make the necessary adjustment so that we can improve our effectiveness and efficiency as classroom teachers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Maridel. Your sharing is very, very meaningful, especially on the part of the teachers. So at this time, there is a realization that teachers really play a very important role in the alignment, in the design of the curriculum, in the implementation of the curriculum, and what is important is the transformation of our learners that would lead to service to humanity. So let us give a round of applause to Ma'am Rita, Sir Kenneth, and Miss and Ma'am Maridel for their sharing on question number 2. So just would like to remind the participants, you can start having your questions. You can just place them in the Q&A chat box, and then our panelists can also start answering. There is already, to all the panelists, you can answer. There is already one question being raised in the Q&A tab, so you can start answering while we will have another set of raffles. So Miss Rochelle, please. before we will proceed to question number 3. So another inspiring move. A raffle draw. There. Excitement remains.
Thank you so much po, Miss Pal. Good afternoon po ulit, everyone. So again, let us have a few quick reminder lang po ulit. So all of the participants must be present at the time of the draw, and once your name is called and you are not present, your entry will be forfeited and a new winner will be selected. Okay, let's draw na po for our third winner. Let us have Miss Carla Marie Daza. Miss Carla, can you please raise your hand or virtual hand, please?
Carla,
Okay.
are you
Miss
still
Carla?
around? Ma'am Carla?
Okay, so since Miss Carla is not here, let us
Oh.
call for another winner. Let's call for another winner po. Sir Ray Anthony Pales. Sir Ray, are you here po? Okay, congratulations, Sir Ray.
Congratulations, Sir Ray.
So we already have our third winner.
There.
Let's draw for our fourth winner na po. For our fourth winner, let us have Miss Laika Dayan Olero. Okay, so since Miss Laika is here, congratulations once again.
Wow.
Thank you so much po, Ma'am Pal.
Wow, congratulations to all the winners. Now we have already 4 winners of our raffle draw. And so far, we have 250 participants. Are you still around? Are you still excited? Paki-type naman dyan. Paki-ano naman sa chat box. Are you still excited to learn more? Yes, from Sir Win. Thank you. Yes, yes. Opo, ayan. Very good. Okay, excitement continues. Opo, yes, opo ako. Masaya tayo dyan, no? There. So, thank you so much. I think we are ready to proceed to our question number 3, our point for discussion. Question number 3, what role do stakeholders, teachers, parents, students, and the community play in curriculum design and implementation? Kung ang ibig sabihin dyan, wider na ang ating coverage for the curriculum, no? Who will be the designers? Medyo, wider na because it involves the participation of internal and external stakeholders. So, Ma'am Rita, okay, there. So you can start once again the theory behind this.
Next slide, please. I would like again to just refer to the ecosystems approach that is used by the OECD Learning Compass as its basis for recommending the effective future-oriented curriculum. It is based on Bronfenbrenner's multiple nested systems, the ecosystems theory. And so you can see here, the student is at the center. And what I like about this framework is that the OECD has updated it and aligned it with today's current realities. So the student is affected by so many factors in the microsystem, the mesosystem, the exosystem, and the macro system. And therefore, all these systems play a role, should play a role in intentionally contributing to the curriculum, because whether we like it or not, they do shape the life of the student. And if we want a curriculum to be relevant to student contexts and to the society, then we need to make sure we have input from at all these levels. So the microsystem has to do with the immediate environment of the student. These are the teachers, the people in the immediate family, the classmates, the school leaders. The mesosystem involves these same people or these same characters, but it includes the way teachers, for example, are related to people in the community, or the way teachers relate to parents. So the mesosystem is like a new network, if you will, and new expanded relationships that come about by the way that the characters in the microsystem relate to each other. The exosystem, if you will look at it here, has things like teacher licensure. So our LET, our PRC requirements affect the kind of PD that we like to get, or the kind of uh, preparation that we want to make sure our teachers have before they get a license. Part of the ecosystem here that you see are private foundations. And we can consider, let's say, the Catholic schools or different international schools, different types of schools, and the foundations or organizations behind them to also influence. They have a role in the way curriculum is developed. Very interesting is the macro system. And you see here that mass media, now we're all worried about AI, worried as well as, I guess, excited about the role AI will play. And it is affecting how we develop education. The laws now being crafted. We will probably have new policies that EDCOM 2 and our new DepEd. There's more interagency work now that's being done. So DepEd, TESDA, CHED, the Teachers Education Council, they are always coordinating now. They're trying to move as one. So that will have hopefully very good impact on our curriculum. And also very important in the macro system are the widely shared cultural values and beliefs. In the US now, there is what we call culture wars. So they are negotiating things like diversity, and issues like that. So we have in the Philippines also some things like that. And so these must all influence curriculum. Next slide, please. So teachers must be very aware that they have a role as curriculum designer. You're not only coming up with your lesson plan so that you'll survive tomorrow. Think of yourself as curriculum designer, meaning how can I design my whole year's curriculum to have maximum impact on students. The students themselves, as you can see in the picture in the middle, should also be encouraged by the school to give input about what matters to them, what is meaningful for them. And of course, on the rightmost side, we have the parents. The parents need to be part of, when we have an innovation in our school, we need to explain. If we're doing project-based learning, we need to explain to parents what is project-based learning and why is it important? What does it mean? What are the implications for your child? Thank you.
Ma'am Rita, thank you so much. Very, very interesting. You know why? You know why? As curriculum designers, we have to reflect on the different kinds of systems. So we have the microsystem, the mesosystem, the ecosystem, the macro system. So this is actually worth reflecting, no? As we will design our curriculum. And we have to make it sure that the center for all of our design, in our design framework, the center should always be the learners, no? And we should not forget that our design should focus also so that we can create a real world curriculum. So thank you so much for that, Ma'am Rita. So I think Dr. Kenneth can say something about this, no? The curriculum and instruction, especially for the third question. Okay, Dr. Kenneth, it's your floor.
Thank you, Mampal. Can we have the next slide, please? So as you can see on the third question, all of these stakeholders can be gathered through the curriculum review, which is a systematic process of evaluating and analyzing the existing curriculum so that we can determine its effectiveness, relevance, coherence, and the alignment with educational goals, standards, and the needs of learners and society. All of us here, whether you are instructional leaders, you are teachers, or even administrators, you all have been at one point or the other been involved in a curriculum review. So that for us in St. Paul schools, in the Paulinian framework of education, curriculum design is not the sole task of school leaders or curriculum developers. It is a shared mission involving all stakeholders. Teachers play a central role as curriculum implementers and designers. Their classroom experiences inform the effectiveness and relevance of curriculum content and delivery. They are empowered to co-create learning experiences that embody compassion, competence, and commitment, considering the kinds of learners that we have today. Another set of stakeholders are the parents who serves as our partners in formation. Their insights into students' behavior, interests, and learning needs provide essential contexts. In the Paulinian tradition, we recognize the home as a vital extension of the learning environment, and parent voices guide us in shaping a curriculum that resonates with family values and lived realities. That is why homeschool partnership is not only established in St. Paul schools, but is also sustained. So, what are our activities to sustain? We have our Kumustahan, which happens after every semester or after every 2 quarters. And we also conduct dialogues or conferences with parents. There can be instances where parents just come to school, and on the availability of teachers, they can conduct a conference, or instances where the teachers themselves, the subject teachers, through the advisor, calls for a parent conference. Students, as mentioned by Mampal earlier, as the heart of education, are consulted through focus group discussions and reflection surveys to gather their input on learning experiences, challenges, and interests. Their perspective ensure that curriculum remains engaging, meaningful, and responsive to their aspirations and needs. Moreover, since curriculum must be student-centered, it is important for us instructional leaders to, as mentioned early on by Dr. Rita, gather diverse insights and ensure that decisions reflect actual needs. Finally, the broader community and industry partners serve as bridges to real-world learning. Their involvement through service learning, immersion programs, and advocacy grounds our curriculum in social relevance. It reinforces the Paulinian call to be all to all, forming learners who lead with compassion and serve with purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sir Kenneth. So we we have, I hope that the participants do not have the information overload at this time, no? Because once again, Sir Kenneth, you reminded us that it's not only that the stakeholders, internal and external, will participate in designing, but also in the review. So this is really very, very important. Ano? So we have a lot of things to do, a lot of things to reflect on, and how much more if Ma'am Maridel will continue to share from the perspective now of teachers. So, Mama Ridel?
Thank you, Ma'am Pal. And I really like the ecosystem approach presented by Doc Rita a while ago. It is very important to note that teachers form part of the three systems. They are part of the microsystem, they are part of the mesosystem, and their training, the teacher training, forms part of the exosystem. So indeed, teachers really play a very vital role, no, in the curriculum design and implementation of this. Okay. Now, from a teacher's perspective, stakeholders play very important and very crucial role in shaping curriculum. Okay, in order that curriculum will meet the needs of the students and also will answer the societal demands. So first, we have the teachers. We already have mentioned that they are both designers, implementers, and evaluators of curriculum. They are at the forefront of curriculum implementation, and they provide valuable insights into what worked well in the class, what did not work well in the class. And so this could serve, their insights will serve as basis for filling in any learning gap that will be observed or for making the necessary correction in case there are redundancies, no, which are being observed. So indeed, the teachers are really very important in curriculum design. The parents, they provide cultural contextual insights and reinforce learning. They support the curriculum relevance. However, usually parents are grounded only in their children's needs and experience. So what they offer, what they share are usually learner-centered. But nevertheless, they still are very important, no? Their participation in curriculum design is still very important. Now, let's go to the students. They are the primary recipients and the center of learning and curriculum implementation. So they offer insights into what has motivated them, what part of the curriculum or the kind of curriculum that has engaged them well, and how they can learn best, and what are the emerging interests, and what are their emerging interests and their aspirations, from where we can plan, no, what will be the curriculum that we need to prepare for the next generation or so. The community, okay? So the community offers real-world context and resources, and consequently, they support applied and career-based learning. Okay, so the community connects school learning to real-world demands and also to community values. So they provide real-world perspectives on the knowledge and skills that the society need. Okay, so in short, can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so we can see here the collaborative roles in curriculum design among the teachers, the parents, the students, and we also have to include the community. So when learning is shaped by collaboration among these stakeholders, education becomes an interconnected system rather than an isolated classroom endeavor. Okay, so that it is important to note that collaboration really plays a very significant impact on student learning. And through collaboration, our stakeholders will be able to create a dynamic, inclusive, and meaningful curriculum that prepares our students not just for academic success, but for life beyond our classrooms and schools. Thank you very much.
There you are, no? Considering the sharing of Ma'am Rita, Sir Kenneth, and Ma'am Maridel, it involves the collaborative roles, no, in the curriculum design, in the implementation, and in the evaluation. Just a reminder, especially if we are preparing or designing a performance task that involves the community, the parents' participation, and other participants from the community. If we will design a project-based learning and also capstone as a performance task, there is really a need to involve the parents or the other members of the community, even the LGUs and the different business agencies. Okay, so that's it. Let us once more give a round of applause to all our panelists, Ma'am Rita, Sir Kenneth, and Ma'am Maridel for the question number 3 as point for discussion. There, so ayan, parade of visual applause. Maraming salamat po. I think we have already 3 questions there, so you can start answering na. Our panelists, you can start answering because there are already questions posted on the Q&A box. So let us now proceed to question number 4. What are common challenges there? No, so we have to address now challenges. What are the common challenges in designing a new curriculum, and how can school leaders and teachers address them? So this is really a very good point for discussion after hearing all the sharing of our panelists from question number 1 to question number 3. Okay, so Ma'am Rita, it's your part again.
I would just like to focus on, for me, what is the biggest challenge that I feel is faced by curriculum designers or curriculum implementers. Next slide, please. And this is that there are 2 kinds of challenges: technical challenges or adaptive challenges. And the biggest, I guess, error that will end up in having many obstacles to implementation is that we use technical approaches to solve adaptive challenges. Let me explain. So a technical challenge is a challenge that can be solved through the application of existing solutions, procedures, tools, and expert guidance. So an example here is, let's say, when CHED rolled out their focus on outcomes-based education. So now all the higher education institutions were trying to figure out what is outcomes-based education. And if it is just about what it is all about and what are the some strategies for implementing outcomes-based education, that's just a technical challenge because it can just be solved by using solutions that of, let's say, inviting the St. Paul's University administrators because they worked so closely with SPADI. So that's they have existing procedures, they may have existing tools, and they can be the experts to give the workshops. Maybe a workshop is enough, or a series of workshops is enough to address that technical challenge, because that is a technical challenge. How do we understand it better? An adaptive challenge is a challenge that requires leaders and stakeholders to be more creative. It means that this is a challenge that is like a root cause. What are some of the foundational problems and challenges that teachers and schools who will actually implement this, what are some of the challenges that they will face that cannot just be addressed by taking a workshop or a seminar? Right? It will need new procedures, norms, beliefs to address problems of practice. So for the example of outcomes-based education, maybe some part-time teachers, especially in higher ed, are not motivated to change the way they teach. So you could have an accounting professor and he'll be saying, the school got me because I'm an accounting expert. I don't have time to learn about outcomes-based education because I am not an educator. That's not my primary responsibility. And I'm teaching accounting classes because I'm an expert in accounting. That cannot just be addressed by a workshop. It is something motivational. There are some root causes. It requires some more creative problem solving on the part of the university, right? So we cannot just use technical approaches to solve adaptive challenges. And many times when there is a curricular reform, the solution is always more professional development. And it won't always work. And therefore, it's important, next slide, please, for us to identify, is this a technical challenge or an adaptive challenge? So I put down some examples of technical challenges. It's, for example, ensuring quality of the curriculum that's actually delivered. So this one is you send your teachers to build their expertise, or you give more time. Maybe you can tell the teachers you have to change your syllabus within 2 years, or for higher ed, 2 SEMs, instead of changing them all this SEM. You know, it's a technical challenge and there's a technical solution. Adequate capacity building and retooling of teachers to deliver the curriculum properly. Again, that's just PD. PD is the answer. Third example that I put here is a proper implementation plan consisting of small baby steps. So maybe you know that your teachers will be overwhelmed. You want to roll it out carefully. So this one, you can just tell your teachers, okay, for this semester, this is all that we'll do. Okay, so if you're trying to start project-based learning, then you can say, okay, only the teachers who will volunteer. If you want to play with project-based learning, we will give you some incentives, right? So that is a technical challenge with technical solutions. What are some of the other technical challenges that you can think of? Let's say for Matatag or for the new senior high school curriculum that's about to be rolled out. So maybe you can think of that after this workshop. But adaptive challenges are like building understanding among stakeholders of the intention of DepEd or CHED when they design a certain curriculum and your own school's written curriculum, right? So what is the intention? What is the essence? Let's keep to what is the spirit of the law. Kung baga, spirit versus letter of the law. Di ba po? Yan yung usual example. Competing understanding of new curriculum and other PD efforts. So sometimes the new curriculum says, from now on, you do this. We no longer do this other thing. So it's like, naguguluhan na kami, right? Third, lack of motivation of teachers in adopting a new curriculum. For example, the school doesn't give enough time for the teachers to change their lesson plans. how to assess future-oriented graduate outcomes, and teacher burnout, fast teacher turnover, etc. Those are adaptive challenges. Workshops alone won't solve these. What are other adaptive challenges that you can think of? Thank you.
Ma'am Rita, may nagta-thumbs up sa mga sinasabi mo.
May
So,
mga hugot.
yes, mga hugot, especially yung teacher burnout. And
No, we're really burnt
yeah.
out. We're so burnt
So,
out.
thank you so much, Ma'am Rita, for sharing your researches and also for giving examples to help us understand our role, no, as curriculum designers and implementers and evaluators. It's just like saying that we have to love problems, because if we have to love problems, then we will try to find solutions.
Not exactly. It
Yeah,
means we
if
have to
we will
classify
find,
our problems
yeah,
properly.
yeah. And then if we have already the solutions, then we can start thinking of some ways to improve, di ba? So if there are solutions to problems, for sure, improvement will follow. Okay, am I right, Sir Kenneth?
I strongly agree, Mampal. We need to know about problems,
Okay.
always face problems day in and out. All right. So, in continuation of what Dr. Rita was saying, designing a new curriculum is a complex and sometimes challenging endeavor, especially when striving to uphold the Paulinian ideals of excellence, faith, and service. All those challenges mentioned, both adaptive and technical, are very true, and we have experienced that in in all our St. Paul schools. One common challenge, and I suppose you would agree with me, is the teachers' resistance to change, especially among our experienced and seasoned teachers, or to even some of our neophyte teachers, right? To address this, school leaders must foster a culture of open communication, shared vision, and collaborative decision making, ensuring that teachers actively participate in the design process so that change is owned, not imposed. Because this is usually the experience. When we just cascade to them, teachers will simply feel imposed, that they are obliged to follow, they are compelled to do because that is a mandate, that is an order. Another challenge is limited resources, especially in implementing 21st century learning. Resource constraints can be a real barrier. Teacher training on the integration of 21st century tools or pedagogies, and thus we respond by maximizing local materials, partnerships, and ICT integration. Finally, gaps in teacher capacity. As mentioned earlier, lack of motivation among teachers. There's also teacher burnout and the fast turnovers, which we in the private schools are really experiencing. Thus, change is inevitable, so teachers must be provided with opportunities for retooling and even upskilling. That is why, to address these, innovative curricula require appropriate instructional materials and well-prepared educators. Continuous professional development, mentoring, and peer learning communities like learning action cells provide vital support, building teacher confidence and competence in new approaches. Additionally, ensuring that curriculum remains relevant, inclusive, and balanced makes effective school leadership meaningful and successful. By addressing these challenges with empathy, transparency, and purposeful action, school leaders and teachers can co-create a curriculum that truly transforms and communities in line with our mission that echoes the Paulinian spirit. Thank you, Ma'am.
Paulinian spirit, no? I'm just reminded, no? What is the goal of the teacher? The goal of the teacher is to prepare our learners for a quality life so that they can be of service to humanity. Thank you so much, Sir Kenneth, for that reminder. So there is a need for a capacity building of teachers. Maybe we will practice already the PLC. We are done with PLC episode 6, I think. And then also consider the faculty development program considering the 7 domains of the PPST. That could be a way of addressing if teachers are resistant to change. There. So thank you so much, Mama Ridel. Let us listen to the sharing of Mama Ridel, especially from the perspective of the teachers. What are the challenges? Mama
Okay.
Ridel, the floor is yours.
Yes, Ma'am Pal, thank you so much. So, teachers are experiencing a lot of challenges in curriculum design. Nevertheless, they still perform their role in education. So here are some of the curriculum design challenges from the eyes of the teachers. The voice in decision making. Because in many educational systems, curricular decisions are made at higher administrative levels. So teachers usually have little say in shaping the content, in shaping the strategies, no? Because there is already what we call the prescribed curriculum. However, this can still be remedied by collaboration. Teachers can join PLCs and LAC, and they can also form advocacy group so that they can collectively push for greater involvement in curriculum design and planning. Another challenge is time. Teachers are already laden with heavy workloads, making it difficult for them to actively participate in curriculum discussions. So how could this be solved? No? Leveraging technology. So we can use digital platforms and technological tools which can ease out some of our constraints, and that could also provide enough spaces for us to collaborate with other teachers. Then another challenge is PD, professional development. Without proper training, curriculum design for teachers would be very difficult. So how could we solve this? How could teachers solve this? We can make use of, again, it's part of leveraging technology. There are online trainings on curriculum design and curriculum development, which teachers can participate in. So that could solve the need for professional training on curriculum design and development. Another problem is access to materials and also to support. So again, collaboration, that will give you a collective voice, to air out the materials that you need and also the support that you need. And then flexibility and autonomy. This is also another challenge. Teachers can adapt strategic approaches to enhance their skills, to enhance their knowledge, and they can engage in continuous learning, participate in workshops, online courses, or even in peer-led training so that they can also remedy or give solution to the problem of flexibility and autonomy. So with this, though, we can say that even if there are challenges for teachers, we can still manage to overcome these challenges and still continue to play our role as important individuals in designing and implementing curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Maridel. By adding more challenges to educators. But if there are more challenges, so in other words, there are more opportunities for us to improve because we are trying to find solutions to the different challenges of teachers, internal and external stakeholders. Why is it that we are doing all of this? Simply because itong lahat ay para sa bata, para sa mamamayan, para sa bayan. Ayan po, no? So, once again, let us give a round of applause to our panelists, Ma'am Rita, Sir Kenneth, and Ma'am Maridel. I think I have checked the question and answer box, no? All the questions have been answered by our panelists. So, again, thank you, panelists. So, I would like to end this sharing by reminding that with the passage of the Enhanced Basic Education Act, the Department of Education mandates that schools work towards the holistic development of the Filipino child with 21st century skills to enable him or her to be locally and globally competitive. That is why we have to consider the different systems, no? The participation of the stakeholders. And schools implement and teach the K to 12 standards-based curriculum. So we have to study the standards. And another reminder, please, we have here on the screen just a reminder that you are to answer the feedback form within 48 hours, no? You will be given a certificate after you will answer the feedback or you will fill in the feedback form. Okay, and the last inspiration and an expression of generosity of Rex, we will have the final two raffle winners. So Miss Rachel, raffle time.
Yes po, Ma'am Pal. Thank you so much po. So before we proceed on the last two raffle draws, we would like to remind everyone po that the participants must be present at the time of the draw, and if your name is called and you are not present, your entry will be forfeited and the new winner will be selected. Additionally, please be reminded that you have 1 week to send your full name, contact number, GCash or bank account, and valid ID in order to claim your prize. Failure to submit the required details within the given time will result in forfeiture of your prize. Thank you and good luck. So now let's have our fifth winner. Miss Grisel May Ortiz. Miss Grisel, are you here po? Okay, so since Miss Grisel is not here, let us call for another winner. Let's have Miss Hazel Agrade. Miss Hazel. Okay, so Miss Hazel is not here also po. So tawag po tayo ulit. So congratulations, Sir Mark Christian Malata. Sir Mark, okay. So since Sir Mark is here, congratulations po.
Congratulations, Sir Mark.
Let's have our last raffle winner for today's episode. Miss Cheryl Beltran. Miss Cheryl, are you here po? Okay, so since Miss Cheryl is already our first raffle winner, let us call for another winner po. Congratulations, Miss Charlene Rabelas. Okay, congratulations again to all the winners and see you on the next episode. Thank you po.
Okay, congratulations to all the winners. To all the participants who are still around, pakita naman kayo ng mga hearts natin. Ang ibig sabihin, magpapakita ng mga hearts, meaning to say you love the teaching profession and you love the sharing of our panelists. You find the sharing very insightful and very, very meaningful. Ayan, ang daming puso, nakaka-inspire naman kayo. Maraming salamat. So the Quality Assurance Support Program is very much appreciated. And ito ay ginagawa para sa bata, para sa mamamayan, at para sa bayan. So lahat naman, thumbs up naman natin yung services ng Rex. Maraming salamat. And to all the educators, the administrators, the teachers, whoever are the participants, thumbs up kayo dyan. Nang ginagawa natin ay para sa bata, para sa mamayan, at para sa bayan. Thank you so much. And that ends our session. Bye for now and hope to see you episode 7, a continuation of our session this afternoon. So our session next meeting will still be about curriculum and instruction. That would be session 2. And please don't forget to accomplish the feedback form, no? So that you will receive your certificates. Ayan. Please use the QR code so that you can see the questions. Ayan, bye. Thank you. Panelists, please stay for a while.
Thank you, Ma'am Pal. Thank you, Doc Kenneth and Doc Tita. Thank you, Miss Richelle.
Doc Rita and Doc Maridel.
Marami
Congrats.
pong nagpapasalamat sa inyo, Ma'am Rita, Sir Kenneth, and Ma'am Maridel. Nakaka-inspire yung mga hearts nila. Oh, ang dami.
Thank you very much, Sir Kenneth, Ma'am Maridel. Ma'am Pal, nice to meet you.
Yes, please stay for a
Rochelle and
while.
Rex.
Just stay for a while.
Okay.
Sir Levy. Sir Levy is around.
Hi, Ma'am Pal.
Hello.
Hello. Andyan pa si Ma'am Rita still here? Thank you very much, everyone. As usual. Ma'am Rita, maraming salamat po.
Hello, yes. Thank you. You're welcome.
Another great episode ng
Yeah.
ng